Hello. How are you doing, everyone? I'm just posting this quick video about steroids. Now, this video is dedicated to those of you who are doing a research. You may have heard about anabolic steroids. You may be in high school, or you are maybe actually older, and you are reading about anabolic steroids and you're investigating it and you're trying to make a decision whether you should do it or not. So, my job is to share my experience with you and tell you what has happened to me as a result of me using anabolic steroids in the past. And to just let you make your own choice on whether you should do it or not. Now, or you may already be using anabolic steroids, and you may have been liking it, and you're just kind of curious about it, and that's why you're watching this video. Or you may have got to a point where it has taken over your life, and you want to get out, and you don't know how, and you have this fear that all your self-image is dependent upon this. You're afraid of losing all your muscle, you're freaked out. You may have come to a point where you can't afford it anymore, or you're just sick and tired of poking yourself with various different drugs and oils and crap that who knows what's in it, and you just want to be free from it. So whatever the case may be, I just want to share my experience with you, and hopefully it can help you in some way. So going to my beginning, the way I started with the anabolic steroids was back after I graduated high school. I think it was around when I was 18. I started training, and I was having great results. I had great gains for a couple of years, and then I was completely against steroids. Actually, I was one of those guys who would be like, I would never do it, I would never touch it. But I don't know how it happened, but one thing led to another, and at the gym that I was in, I was a personal trainer there, and he was actually telling me, and I'm not blaming him, it was my own ignorance, but he was the guy who actually started talking about it. He's like, hey Sean, you're working out so hard, why don't you just take these pills, and you just buy these pills and you take them, and then you can gain 20 pounds in the next month or two. And I was like, wow, are you serious? I can gain 20 pounds? That's great, that's exactly what I want, that's all I want. If I can gain 20 pounds, what else is there? I just want to gain 20 pounds and I'm good. Don't you think that way? Wouldn't you love to have 20 pounds? And it's only going to cost you 200 bucks. How great. And now I'm at a point in my life where working out and bodybuilding is my life. I mean, I'm telling you, I was the guy who was walking everywhere with his lunch bag, working out hard, reading every article on how to have the biggest bicep on the planet. Everything you name, I was doing. So this guy's offer was extremely attractive to me. And although I was against steroids, I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to do one time, and that's it. And I started reading about it, and he was talking about this pill version of it. Then I went on the internet, and as many of you probably have had already, and there are hundreds of message boards that you can go on to nowadays, and you will become in touch with hundreds of thousands of other steroid users who are completely addicted to steroids, and steroids is part of their life, and they will give you all the information you need to know about this drug. You will literally can get a PhD on steroidism if you go on these message boards. And here's the bad side of it, you will feel like you know what you're doing, and everybody else is stupid. All the people in media are stupid. They don't know this. I know this stuff because these guys are telling me the facts. The media, and yeah, there's a lot of propaganda. Media always blows shit out of proportion. A lot of it is bullshit, but a lot of it is true. And what I'm going to share with you is my own experience. So anyway, so you're going to go, that's what I did. I went to these forums, I started to read about it, and I was like, okay, well, oral only is not good. I need to do this with it to keep the gains. I started doing a lot of reading. I started to learn what are the mistakes some people make. They don't cycle it off and on. What drugs to take so you don't have testicle shrinkage. What to do so you don't get man boobs. What to do so you don't get acne. So I started to read a lot of stuff. I ordered books off the eBay. I did a whole massive research because I was thinking, I'm smart. I'm going to do this the right way. So after a massive amount of research, I started my steroid cycle. And I think my first cycle was some kind of testosterone and Ecopose, I think it was. So I think it was, yeah, I think it was a simple 4 weeks of Debo and and 10 weeks of testosterone, 10-12 weeks of testosterone, about 400 milligrams, and I think it was EQ or something like that. But anyway, so it was like a very well designed cycle by a professional steroid user off the internet. And these guys were actually really good guys. They're honest, genuine guys. But again, they're in it. So I'll come to that at the end. But anyway, so I started that, and you know, one cycle went. You know, it was good. You know, I had some gains. I was like, wow, I'm strong. You know, I mean, I paid a lot of money for it. But again, hey, the gain came. Okay. But again, somehow it wasn't good enough. Somehow I wasn't fulfilled. Somehow I just got puffy. I just got puffy and big. I didn't look good. I didn't look like the guys in magazine. I was like, okay, well maybe, and then I had to come off because that's how I learned. I was like, okay, so you need to do a cycle. You gotta give it time off so your body recovers, and then you do it again. Anyway, I'm gonna make this a little bit shorter because I'm taking forever. But long story short, I started to do this cycle off and on, and I kept gaining muscle and get puffy, but I wasn't happy, so I had to do a cutting cycle. So then I did a cutting cycle, and then I lost all my muscle, so it wasn't good enough, so I had to do more. And anyway, going back and forth, okay, keep going, and it come to a point where I was thinking that this is so stupid. Why are these people not doing steroids? Why isn't everybody doing steroids? I thought to myself that I'm going to be doing steroids for the rest of my life, because I thought it's so great. I had high sex drive and extreme confidence, and all these great things that they were talking about I was having, and I wasn't having a lot of side effects. At first I had some side effects, but I didn't have a whole lot after that. But then it gets funny. But then after a while, the dark side of steroids will take over, and I guess this is the honeymoon phase. After the honeymoon phase, where you have all these gains, you find yourself addicted to this chemical. Why? Because you will always feel like you are not big enough. You will never be fulfilled with your size and your gains. You always want to go to the next level. This is the state of mind that steroids put me. And I felt like it's never good enough. I always have to continue going. And I became completely dependent upon this chemical. My whole self-image became dependent upon these chemicals. I didn't think I'm good enough unless I am big. I became the big Sean, the ripped Sean, the big guy. And I was scared of going off of it because I would lose all my muscle. But after a while, after cycling off and on, you go through all these emotional roller coasters, you know, like various different anxieties. I was getting anxiety attacks. This is after probably a couple of years of use. Then that's when the shit starts hitting the fan. You know, for the first year or two, everything seems okay, or at least you think it is. Or I was BSing myself that it is. But anyway, so after a while, then you're like, well, why am I going off and on? Why don't I just stay on for a while? So I started staying on instead of getting off and on, because it's very hard. Like mentally, it's very challenging to go off and on because it's fucking with your hormone. It's like going through puberty every once in a while. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it to you. Like, okay, let me explain to you. After you get off the cycle, you get really depressed. It's very common. You lose a lot of strength. You're worried that you're going to lose your gains, and a lot of it is BS, but it's just going to happen to you. So you feel like a little child, and the drug that you have to take, like Clomid and all the other stuff, they make you extremely emotional. So you just become like a little girl. It's very weird. So after a while of steroids use, you're like, why the fuck am I even going off? I'll just stay on on a medium low dose, like 400 or 500 milligrams per week, and stay on it. And that's what I did. For after a while, I just stayed on it. I was like, why would I even get off? And after a year of that, approximately, that's when really I realized that I'm completely addicted, and that's when the self-destruction pattern happens. And that is, you know, when you start using steroids, there's all these other drugs that you can get into. It's a very easy way to get into it. And for myself, I started to take sleeping pills because I was having insomnia. I couldn't sleep, so I started taking sleeping pills. Then I was having headaches, so I had to take all these, you know, painkillers. So all these other drugs came into play. Then I was introduced to GHB, which is a drug that you know, they used to sell it in GNC back in 1990s to put you in high REM sleep, deep REM sleep, and increase your growth hormone. So I started doing that, and that led me to the whole other series of drugs of cocaine and all the other stuff. So, and me telling you this stuff is I've had experience of knowing a lot of people who are into the steroid scene, And knowing them, I know that a lot of them, they don't just do steroids, they do a lot of other drugs like cocaine, all these other stuff will come in. So I'm just telling you this as a side note. Now, you may be thinking, well, I'm just going to do steroids and that's it. And you may be right, and you may not have to go through the same thing I had to go through. But the reason I had to stop is this. I was sick and tired of having to pay for a chemical to make me look a certain way. And I got to a stage where I was exactly like the pictures in the magazines. I had the best body that I could ever imagine having. But there was zero fulfillment. Zero fulfillment. None. I worked so hard, spent so much money to look a certain way, and I was completely miserable. And this is a fact. You may see this and you think, well, no, if I have that body, I won't be miserable. But you have to experience it for yourself because it's empty. It doesn't go anywhere. I would go to bars, and yes, there was a girl or two who was, actually a lot of girls didn't give a shit. They thought I'm too big for them. They didn't even want it. And they think, and now I see it from their perspective, you look extremely insecure for the way, like the steroid guys. They look extremely insecure. And they look total extreme behavior to having that body. But anyway, most girls don't give a shit. You're gonna have a couple of girls who are gonna love you for it. And those girls, you don't want, okay? You don't even want those girls. Maybe you're gonna enjoy the couple of good comments, oh, you have nice biceps, or you have nice chest. But it doesn't mean shit, okay? You don't want those girls. Even if you sleep with them, you realize that you don't want them. And another thing can happen. Some girls will like you, but you, you don't want them because you think they only like you because of your body, not because of who you are. So you will feel like a fake and like a facade. You will feel like, that's how I was feeling. I keep saying you, but I'm just talking about me, my experience. So every time I say you, it's me, okay? But I was feeling like these girls like me, but it's just because of my body. They don't even know who I am, and they just, they just want me for my body. And the girls who wanted me, they were usually the kind of girls, they were either ugly, or they were fat, or they were just not my type. Okay? They may be good looking, like one or two, but they were super superficial. So I was constantly worried that I had to look so good for them. So it was like a complete fake relationship, because they were in love with my image. I was in love with my image. I wasn't me, I wasn't me. I was always like at this, ego, like, oh, I'm this big cool guy. Anyway, so going back, and that's what happened. So anyway, so having said that, at the end of it, I came to a point where I literally like nearly lost my life. And that was because of all the other drugs that I was doing. They nearly killed me. And I had to just drop everything. And I nearly lost my life. A few times I visited the hospital, and this has nothing to do with steroids. It has other two drugs that had an effect to it. But I just wanted to get away from steroids. I remember I was waking up in the morning. A lot of times I was waking up in the morning, and I would feel like this deep anxiety and knowingness that I should not be doing this to myself. There was a knowingness. And I think the critical points of it was when I realized that, and I admitted to myself that the true reason that I was doing steroids was because I wanted approval of other girls. I wanted to look good. I love the feeling of walking to a bar and guys look at me like I'm this big guy. I love that feeling. But it was the most bullshit reason to putting my body into that damage and putting those damage into my body. I at some point I did have some liver issues. My doctor was getting worried about it. Thankfully, I don't have any other issues right now. I've been clean for 4 years now. I haven't touched steroids, and I won't touch it again. Thankfully, hopefully, with the help of God, I won't touch it again. But there is temptations there still, because I'm a fitness model now. I compete in WBFF and various different federations, fitness modeling, and I actually just won my first competition just recently. But that's being clean after 4 years. Now you may say, well, you've used for all those years and that's why you won it. Maybe you're right, maybe I did. But again, I paid for it. I nearly lost my life many times. I'm thousands of dollars in debt right now, and I'm still paying for it right now. And I'm just admitting this to yourself so you can make a good judgment for yourself, whether you want to go through this, whether you want to fuck with this drug, because it's a real thing. And let me tell you, for those of you who say, well, I'm going to do it the smart way, I thought I'm doing the smart way. I had my doctor checking me on me. I was taking regular checkups. I did all the books out there. I was one of the gurus and moderators at various different message boards. You know, the guys who are like 1,000 different posts under their name and people look up to them. I was one of those guys. So just so you know. But my message is, if you were my brother, if you were my son, if you were my friend, I would say, dude, you don't need that shit, okay? It's much better to be, you know, a 180-pound guy and be ripped than be like a 240-pound guy and be like extremely massive, because it doesn't mean anything. Most people think you're an idiot, okay? I'm sorry for saying this. And if you do look 400, 240 pounds, you know what? I'm sorry, I don't mean that to you, all this to you. You actually, I have respect for you, because you do have to put a lot of work on that. But my honest message to you is that when I see someone, or when somebody sees someone who has that big, it just means that you want to get that much attention. It's all ego, it's all fake, it's all empty, and it's no fulfillment. And I just want to basically let you know that not do that. If you are on the phase that you're deciding to do it or not, I would say don't do it. If you're already doing it, you know, then I hope this video shows you the other side of it, that hey, there may be another side. And if you want to quit, let me tell you, your biggest fear is all in your head. There is no fear. If you stop tomorrow, a year from now, you will be thanking yourself. I was absolutely amazed, actually. After I stopped, I was absolutely amazed of how much size I kept and how better I looked. How better I looked. I got much more leaner. My face got a lot leaner. My body got a lot more ripped. And I felt so much better. Like I couldn't move. Like I felt like I'm dragging my body around with extra 40 pounds of muscle. And your whole system runs more efficiently. I know guys, in fact, one of my friends, I'm not going to say his name, but he's currently just got off. He's been on for many, many years. And he's a very extremely powerful and awesome personal trainer. And he is telling me his side of the story also, that he feels like shit all the time. So now he's going to growth hormone. But again, that growth hormone is another disaster. It makes your gut grow and all this other stuff. So this video is getting a little too long. I'm going to cut it short, but this video was meant to those of you to share my experience. For those of you who are going to post some funny comments, it's okay. You can say whatever you want. You know, I'm probably an idiot to you, and that's how you see me, and that's okay. And I pray for you. I pray for you to find real, true wisdom and true peace and true harmony. And all those guys who find this video useful, I hope you share it with other people, so others can actually be saved from this this temptation to do this. Have a great day, and there's a lot of great trainers out there and training methods out there nowadays, and you can get the amazing body that you're looking for without these chemicals. In fact, all you need is protein, creatine, and glutamine. Okay, that's all you need, a multivitamin, and you can have a fantastic body. Have a fantastic day, and cheers. Bye-bye.